Welcome to the Growler, a Hoot podcast hosted by Paul Dana and other bald friends like Mo Egger, Dave Nanemets, home of all your Bengals breaks, takes. Welcome to the Growler.
All right, welcome to the latest edition of the Growler, Paul Dana Jr. And as you heard by the music, joined by a fellow bald, Mo Egger, who's done what most of us do in the summer, wearing a hat because we have to. So I had somebody was like, "What do you put like sunscreen on your head?" I was like, "No, I wear a hat at the pool. Like, there is no sunscreen that's going to save the skull. All right, you've got to go hat. You were just at the lake. You did the big lake weekend not too long ago. Are you? Did you have to go? Did you go hat?
I go hat in the water. Yeah. I go hat pretty much. I go hat pretty much everywhere. But there is and I could try to find it, but there is a screenshot of me on Channel 9 in 2019 when I had been outside on Easter without a hat, and my head looked like one of those daytime Reds home jerseys. And so, like, when I don't wear a hat, really, really bad things happen, and that's even when I apply sunscreen. So no, when you have no hair, you have to go hat in the sun, and sometimes even indoors.
Yes, which is fine by me. A lot of times people go hat indoors a lot when they're in casinos, when they're in sports books, when they're playing poker, which is a perfect, really rough segue into today's show, which is Best Bets show. We did this last year too. Just a chance for us to take a break here in the off season and really talk to our people, the degenerates out there amongst you, or even the not degenerates, just the casuals. We're here to help. Okay. We have thoughts on what some of the current lines are, some of our favorite angles. And it really just ends up as a good jumping point to talking about some of the Bengals and NFL trends that we see playing out over the course of this season, and hopefully it not be held against us at a later date, but probably will be.
I'm sure they will be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so let's here's what I want to do. I'll open it up, and because I've got a bunch of different categories that we can get into here, but I'll just open it up to you. What's your favorite best bet right now? See, in terms of futures,
Joe Burrow to throw for over 3,925 and a half yards.
Yeah.
So many of my wagers that are Bengals related are based on betting on the offensive line and betting on Joe Burrow playing at least the overwhelming majority of the games. And I feel like that's a fair bet to make because I do think it's a decent offensive line. There are questions. Not totally convinced that Orlando Brown isn't a candidate for regression. I'm not completely sold on the depth being there if like a lot of guys who aren't in the among the five starters have to play a lot, but it is the best line he's played behind. He's just due for better luck at some point. And I also feel like there's going to be a real premium on him. I hate the term hero ball, but like I'm going to guess that Joe Burrow spends a lot of time this season ensuring that he's available. Obviously, anything can happen, right? I mean, if a defensive end comes crashing down on you and breaks all your bones, then there's nothing you can do. But so a lot of my wagers are based on Joe Burrow playing close to a full season. When he plays a full season, his passing yardage totals for the season have been 4,611, 4,475, and 4,918, which led the league 2 years ago. I'm wagering on him not even getting to 4,000. And I think it's a safe bet, quite frankly, that if he plays the full season, he's going to get 4,000 passing yards. He needs to hit 3,926, which I think is very, very doable. There's a handful of other Joe Burrow props I really like, but that's the one that jumps off the page to me. If he plays a full season, I think bookmark it. He's going well over 4,000 yards. We're using history as a guide. So I'll go over Burrow 3,925 and a half passing yards.
Here's why I hate your bet. Okay. This is essentially just a bet on Joe Burrow's health.
Yes.
That's all this is. This is, will Joe Burrow be healthy this year? Yes or no is all this is. Because if he's healthy, these numbers aren't even in question.
Right.
Like that they had to put the number at that spot because a real number, if you were setting a line, that would be you get your money back if he misses time, and they're just taking that off the table. This number would be at like 46 or 45 or something like that. This is a will Joe Burrow, and I would hate the idea of having to bet on Joe Burrow's health, just generally, just out of the ickiness of it. And no one wants to see that for him, but the history is undeniable and it's everyone's worst nightmare. I just don't like touching that world but that's what it is. Like, that's why this number is what it is. And if you're willing to go there, if you're willing to believe in Joe Burrow's health, it's an easy win, but that's what this is. This isn't a yard.
Yeah.
This is a health bet.
But I guess for me, and we'll dive into them, most of my Bengals bets are based on Joe Burrow being healthy. I mean, they are, but most of the way I look at the season, I look at it through the lens of Joe will play close to 17 games. Maybe he has to miss one. Maybe he has to miss two. Maybe he sits out a meaningless game week 18. But I feel pretty good about the line he's playing behind. Again, luck. Like he's had a lot of things that have happened to him that are not, not your typical football-y, and like the appendectomy, which didn't cause him to miss any games, but his season start that year was really janky, and the calf injury, and so there's just been some weird sort of stuff, and his injuries are like, the wrists are like these injuries where it's like, man, nobody's ever had that before, right?
Wrist, toe, yeah. I mean, the big ones. But to me, that's, I don't know. I don't want to get into a will Joe Burrow.
I understand
discussion.
Because
it's real. I mean, it's real though. Like, I mean,
yes,
because
sure.
I get more concerned because they haven't been football-y. Like, I just have the idea of, like, could the weird stuff happen on top of the football stuff happen? It's not, the toe and the wrist. It's not necessarily because he's taken too many hits. It's been just weird and fluky.
They've been weird and fluky, and so, like, I'm gonna bet against weird and fluky, I guess.
Sure.
By the way, that's going to be the new morning show on one of our stations, Weird and Fluky.
Weird and Fluky.
Yeah.
Not far. Weird and Fluky in the morning.
Weird. I'm going to bet against Weird and Fluky and bet on Joe playing close to 17 games. And look, if we have 4 out of 7 seasons where he misses substantial time, the conversations are going to be so sour anyway that I'm not going to care about any lost wagers. So I'm betting on the health. I'm betting against Weird and Fluky. I'm betting on health, and I'm betting Joe Burrow clears 3,925 and a half passing yards.
And if you feel that way, you should also throw over 32 and a half TDs in there, because that feels really good.
Yes, had that down as well. I felt less good about that just because if you look at his full seasons, there's only been 1 year where he has just soared past that, but it's on my list as well. 32 and a half touchdown passes.
He did basically proclaim he's aiming for like 48. So he's feeling it right now, as we've noted. By the way, what have you made of Joe Burrow's proclamations this offseason?
Love it. It puts the onus on him. Joe Burrow is like us as fans. He's re-energized. And I think there's nothing more dangerous than a great athlete who's like re-energized, re-engaged. It's a change of scenery without the change of scenery. We've seen great athletes across sports get dealt somewhere, and it just seems to reinvigorate them. I feel like Joe is going through that without having to move. That's the best possible outcome for Bengals fans. He, at the end of the season last year, looked like a lot of us felt. Like, good God, how long is this going to go? Are we ever going to win? Like, I mean, it was a fatiguing season as a fan. I can't imagine what it was like for him. So he has come across the way I think a lot of Bengals fans have come across. The same folks who were, pleading apathy back in December and rolling their eyes at another offseason of seeing if they can make the team any better. Those same folks 7 months later are are psyched about the season and can't wait for the season and saying big and bold things about the season. So to me, Joe Burrow is a higher profile version of so many Bengals fans where he's just re-energized. And look, it at least temporarily shuts down any conversation about the relationship between him and the team. You and I have talked about that. Could that go south? Sure. But like right now, it feels like he is reinvigorated. He is re-energized. He's really focused. And I think the fan base mirrors him. I certainly do.
Yeah. You have been pumping Burrow MVP odds. They're going to, it's working. It's working because the number's going down. Where did you, I mean, you could get it. What was the highest you saw it at?
I saw it like plus 1,100.
Yeah. It's down to plus 900 right now.
Yeah.
Fourth
best.
Here's my, fourth best. Here's my take on it is, these are always going to be narrative based in a lot of ways. Like there's going to be debates, but narratives are going to be big drivers of these.
Mm-hmm.
People are dying to give Joe Burrow an MVP.
Yes.
Like they want to so bad.
Mm-hmm.
They just want him to have a season that's great and pull the Bengals out of the muck, and he'll look like a hero and he'll put up the big numbers we just talked about. If they go 12-5 or 13-4 or whatever, and Joe throws for 4,400 yards and 37 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, like voters will be running to give him an MVP because they want to. They feel like he's deserved it. He's had bad luck. He's won the Comeback Player of the Year award twice. Like all of these things, more so than the fact you've got guys in front of him, Josh Allen and Lamar, and guys that have had their moment, they've had their day, they've won their awards. Like, I just think that of all the big ones, the big names, Joe's one that hasn't gotten that moment. And fans and writers and the people that decide these awards are going to be dying to give it to him. So even at plus 9, I think you're still getting pretty good value. It's probably more where it could have or should have started. But if you're all in on like this is going to be Burrow's year, like we were talking about earlier with yards, you still got to love the MVP because I just think the narratives are in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, I have that as well for every reason you just outlined. By the way, for what it's worth, and I haven't looked at every book available, he is not on the board to be Comeback Player of the Year.
Oh, they're not counting it because he already came back.
So he's already come back, right? But I mean, Comeback Player of the Year award doesn't have to be a guy who, missed the entire season. Patrick Mahomes is the odds-on favorite. He played in more games last season than Joe Burrow. So if you're betting on a third, you're going to have to search long and far because I can't find it. No, I mean, it feels like if he plays a full season and they get to the playoffs, it's his turn. And that is probably not how we should frame MVP discussions.
But it's where it goes.
We've seen this across multiple sports where it just feels like voters are dying to give the award to this guy. 2 years ago, they were not a playoff team. He was still a finalist. He has put up MVP caliber numbers each of the 3 seasons that he has played a full year. It does. And so I bet on it at plus 1,000. It's at plus 900 right now. I'm interested in seeing how that moves, but if at all, it's if they're good, he's going to be good. And there are going to be voters who might ignore pretty much any other candidate and go, okay, it's Joe Burrow's time.
By the way, you mentioned Comeback Player of the Year. I am against ever voting or doing anything or referencing Comeback Player of the Year.
Ooh.
Because once you said the guy that came back to life was not Comeback Player of the Year, I was out. This is no longer an award. You can't come back from the dead and play in the NFL and win the award, and said it was like a guy who came back from not being great at football for a while that won it. Ever since that moment, refuse. Will not touch. I'm out.
So I have a favorite Comeback Player of the Year award bet.
What?
And by the way, for what it's worth, would I have voted for
winning
Damar
that?
Hamlin?
Mahomes is winning that this year.
Would I have voted for DeMar Hamlin that year? Yes. That said, I understood why, because Flacco won it that year. I understood why some voters incorporated some degree of football success, and Flacco at the end of that season getting the Browns to the postseason was remarkable. My vote would have gone to DeMar Hamlin, but I didn't find it as egregious as everybody else that they didn't give it to him. So Patrick Mahomes is probably going to win it. The board says he's probably going to win it, plus 200. But you can buy Aaron Donald right now at plus 1,400.
Yeah.
Those odds will shift dramatically once he announces he is coming back. It certainly feels like there's momentum toward him rejoining the LA Rams. And you and I both know, especially if they are as good as everybody anticipates, that there's going to be a lot of voters who love to vote for the guy who didn't play football at all last year. So I love the value there. I looked for Burrow, couldn't find it. And then I saw Aaron Donald, and I'm like, man, I can get him right now at plus 1,400. Who knows if he's going to be as good as he used to be, but he's now playing with Myles Garrett, a defense where they have fixed the big issue they had last year in the secondary, odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl, plus 1,400 for Aaron Donald, even though he hasn't officially jumped back into the NFL, was too hard for me to pass up. So I do have a comeback player of the year award wager. Yes, I took Patrick Mahomes, but I also love the value right now with Aaron Donald.
Yeah, in an awards season of narratives, man, he'll be just getting every narrative directed his way. They'll be in the spotlight forever. Everybody loves how much of a freak he is, and if he gets 12 sacks at the age of 35 coming off the couch, yeah, you could absolutely see that. Okay, let's get into the division. So the current odds in the division are Ravens minus 118, Bengals plus 200, Steelers plus 525, Browns plus 2,000 to win it. Where are you leaning in terms of where the angles are with the current view of this division?
Well, I'll tell you the bet that I like. At plus 900, you can get this exact order.
Okay.
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland. Now, a lot of folks are going to go away. But Baltimore, the over-under is 11.5. They're odds-on favorites to win the division. I think they're odds-on favorites to be the last team to lose. I haven't looked at that in a while. But if you're a believer in the Bengals, and again, you're betting on Burrow's health, but if you're looking at that 9.5 going, you know what, I'm going over that. Okay. That's 10 wins. Can they get to 11? I think so. A guy I read in The Athletic predicted 11 wins. Could that win the division? Well, if the odds-on favorite has a quarterback who was hurt last year, whose bell cow running back is in his 11th season, and if you look at them and you're not quite sure that they have fixed their center problem because they haven't, and if you're not quite sure they've given Lamar the weapons necessary, and if you think, you know what, new head coach, maybe there's going to be some growing pains, despite the fact their schedule early is pretty easy, and they've got to play all these division games late in the season. Maybe Baltimore slides to third. Maybe Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers have a little bit of magic left in them to take that Steelers team and keep it competitive enough to finish in second place, and the Browns are going to stink. Plus 900 exact order: Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland.
I like that because I think what my take on this is, in terms of perception, is I don't see why everybody is just fawning all over Baltimore from a betting perspective. I don't get the numbers. I don't understand them being near the top of every AFC championship list. I don't understand them being clearly, this far. Bengals plus 200 to win the division versus them. Like I think it is. I think you're neck and neck with those at the very least when you look at how they're constructed. People forget that Baltimore wasn't good last year, and it wasn't all John Harbaugh's fault. They had personnel issues, and now you have a first-time head coach and a first-time offensive coordinator. As much as you think they're the next Ben Johnson or Sean McVay or Mike McDonald or whatever you think of Minter and Declan Doyle, they're first-timers. And there's a lot of learning that comes with being in those chairs for the first time, no matter how comfortable you feel or how good Lamar Jackson is. You also are betting on Lamar Jackson's health, which is always a question, and he missed time last year, and we saw what happened. I know the history of the Ravens, and there's always a lot to like with them. I mean, I was all on board with them, and I took it on the chin last year, but I don't see that this year. Like, I don't understand it. So where you're going, I think that's where your value lives, is shorting the Ravens.
Yes.
Because like, I have the Ravens at plus 500 to finish third on my list here. I don't buy. I mean, I just think the Steelers are going to fall apart this year. I don't. Mike Tomlin was not getting enough credit for the miracles he was working year to year to get them to 9-8. And Aaron Rodgers was not good last year. They don't have a good quarterback, and they have an aging team and an aging defense. No matter what you like about some of the things that they're doing, and Tomlin's not there to help salvage that. So Mike McCarthy's fine, but he's going to be trying to work some things out his first time in there. I'm not buying the Steelers. I would even make a Steelers for fourth place bet if I was looking at it too. And maybe because everything around the Browns quarterback situation is good. It's just a matter of if they could get anything resembling decent play from, I guess, Deshaun Watson. And that's not something I'd want to be rooting for. But but still, I could see a world where the Browns could push up into third if, like, Watson was okay. You know what I mean? Because they do have a lot of good pieces. They could just feature the running game and a really good defense, even without Myles Garrett. I still think you still like their drafts have been really good. You could see that.
Yeah, I toyed with that a little bit. I toyed with, like, could I talk myself into like a late season Cleveland surge, because they have a lot of really good young players, a lot of promising young players, and it kind of coalesces late, and maybe the quarterback situation sort of settles itself as the season moves forward, and they're interesting late in the season. They traded away their best player. So I couldn't quite do it.
But I love Jared Verse. I mean, it's not a total loss there.
He's not going to be fun to block by any stretch. No.
And all the young guys they drafted last year getting year two jumps. Like, I think Monken can do good things for the offense.
And then in toying with the order of the division, like I messed with Pittsburgh finishing second, third, and fourth. I cannot imagine a world where they win the division. I could certainly see a world where things totally crater and Aaron Rodgers plays like a guy his age and they finish in last place. But I'm willing to fade Baltimore just enough for the value. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite wager on my sheet here is Baltimore under 11.5 wins for all the reasons you and I just articulated. That doesn't mean they're not going to be a playoff team. It doesn't mean they're not going to win the division necessarily. That doesn't mean they're not going to be a formidable opponent. But it is a rookie head coach. It is an oft-injured quarterback. Even their big offseason acquisition, you talk about finding value on the board. Trey Hendrickson, comeback player of the year, is like plus 3,500. He's trying to come back in what is going to be his age 32 season from a significant injury last year. Like, I could see a world where the Ravens, despite the relative ease of their schedule, where they kind of take a step back from what they were last year, which they didn't make the postseason last year. And then, okay, if they take enough of a step back, somebody's got to finish second. Could Pittsburgh still be that team with 9 wins or 8 wins? Yes. So again, a little bit of a value play here, plus 900, but that is mainly me fading, like you, the Baltimore Ravens. And I started with going under 11.5 wins.
Bengals over under on wins this year is 9.5 right now. Most places, I think I haven't seen that move too much in other spots. So it's kind of just sat there. Despite everything that they've done, but it's sat there and they've gone under the last couple of years, and it's felt like, man, now over 9.5, you got to love it. And I feel like that's kind of been their number the last 2 years. If I remember correctly, I think it was exactly their number, definitely last year. And they haven't, last year they didn't sniff it for any number of reasons, but that also probably goes back to the will Joe Burrow stay healthy question. Easiest schedules, if you go by strength of schedule, by projected Vegas win totals, Warren Sharp has made a big deal out of this. And you see this year in and year out where these teams that have the top 3 or so on those tend to overperform and hit overs. This year, Lions, Saints, Bengals, far and away above average in terms of easiest schedules that you could look to take advantage of. The Saints are my team for overs and surprising. I love Kellen Moore in year 2. I love the history of year 2 quarterbacks that had solid first seasons, like Tyler Shuck did. I love them adding Jordan Tyson to Chris Olave. I just like a lot of what New Orleans has done, which I rarely ever say. And I'm kind of, they're my long shot there. And you find these crazy values on stuff with them. Like I'm not saying they win the Super Bowl, but they're plus 8,000 to win the Super Bowl. Make the playoffs, you're getting plus 195. You can get plus 240 for them to have over 9.5 wins. Their division sucks. Like I could absolutely see them being a good value play if you're looking for one. But and the schedule stuff there with them too, the same way that I think you're favoring the all things are aligning for the Bengals conversation revolves around them being in that group of 3.
So you're not going to make a very long shot wager on the Super Bowl that everybody wants to see, which is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase playing against the Saints in LA? Not gonna do
that? I'm sure. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know you can get that. BetMGM has it. You can do every exact one. So I don't know what Saints Bengals is going off at, but it's probably a number that I don't even understand.
They were kind of sneaky good toward the end of the season last year, right?
Yes.
As the Panthers were crawling toward that, 8-win division title and nearly winning a playoff game, like Tyler Shuck, it kind of felt like, wait a minute, they might have their guy and a really good marriage with Kellen Moore. I'm with you there. I've got him to win the NFC South, which that's not an incredibly high bar to clear. It's a terrible division. You could obviously make a case for Carolina again. I think you can make kind of a reasonable case, I guess, with Atlanta, although there's obviously questions with who's going to play quarterback to what level for Kevin Stefanski. But I liked how the Saints played toward the end of the season last year. You mentioned that the Bengals over under at 9.5. To me, they've got to win 10 games when, if you look at Vegas odds right now, they're projected to be favored in 15 of their 17 games.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, easy schedule, and not just easy schedule, but all the 1:00 games to start the season, not having to play a divisional road game at night. The transition in the division, like the Burrow health, the defensive upgrades,
the insurance on the Burrow health with Flacco as well, where if he does miss a month, they very easily go 2-2,
Yeah. So that ties into another one of my favorite wagers.
Okay.
Same one we made last year, Jamar Chase over 1,325 receiving yards. Which would be, if he hit that number, would be like 400 fewer than when he led the league, had the Triple Crown season. Last year, he had 1,412 with Burrow playing 8 games. When Joe Flacco took over at quarterback, it was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw the ball to him. So if Flacco has to play, I'm going to imagine there could be another 16 catch for 161 yards performance. I'm always betting on Jamar Chase, 1,325. Where it feels like even if Burrow doesn't play and your other Burrow props blow up, there's still a reasonable chance that Jamar could hit that. And there's one other wager that I like outside of the Bengals in the division. That's the Patriots to miss the postseason at plus 180. Historically easy schedule last year, great in 1-score games, a lot of offseason stuff. I know they add A.J. Brown. I've got the Pats to miss the postseason, plus 180. And there's a lot out there that would suggest you can be ahead of the Mike Vrabel first coach to be fired thing as well. I don't know if I'm going there, but I do have the Patriots to miss the postseason.
The only thing about Bills and Patriots is they get the 4 layups against Miami and the Jets. That certainly helps them. But the Patriots regression feels, and I'm not going to say inevitable, but it certainly feels like it's coming there as they have to have a much tougher road to it. Chase Brown over 825.5 rushing yards. That's a really good number. It had me feeling like I could go either way, but I mean, he went over 1,000 last year. They're gonna feature him again. I think they know exactly what they have in him in this line, being, figuring things out. Although I feel like there should be every year I feel like there should be momentum in the run game from something they figured out the previous year, and it has never translated. They've had to rip it up and start over again almost every season. So I won't say anything with certainty, but it couldn't have been worse than it was at the beginning of last year. And he still made it to 1,000 yards. I've got a lot of faith in Chase Brown, this staff, to figure out the running game. The under center stuff gives me some hope that they might be able to actually find more explosives in the run game because of that as well. Playing ahead more often, more 4-minute offense featuring the run game. They seem more willing to do that. All of that makes me think I would take the over, but I think it's a decent line.
That's 48.5 yards per game for his career. And this includes his rookie season when he was playing behind Joe Mixon. He averages 48.5 yards per game.
Yeah.
So obviously the numbers skew way higher 2024 and 2025. Yeah, I like that a lot too. Can he average 48.5 yards per game across a full season? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at last year, and that was after that truly unbelievably historically bad start, and he still crosses 1,000. They're just going to end up featuring him, and there's no push for a split. Like Samaje and Taj Brooks, there's not going to be a lot of take Chase Brown off the field because of those guys. And it would only have to be injury driven. And I don't see those guys being the type that would really seize it, where you would then, when he did come back, be like, oh, we're not going to feature Chase again. So I think that helps you hedge against, a hamstring injury that keeps him out a couple of weeks. All right. Any last bet you want to sneak in before we close it up?
No, these are the ones that I like. I'm going to be interested in some of the award stuff as we get closer to training camp. Offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, that stuff. I don't really think, nothing against Cassius Howell, is going to pertain to the Bengals, but this is what I like.
One last thing that I wanted to mention. This is just generally because people love to make Super Bowl futures. I love the middle group this year because I don't.
Yeah,
the Rams are obviously, if you want to bet a favorite, like, okay, go ahead. But football's weird. Weird stuff happens. Matt Stafford gets hurt. Whatever. Like the idea that it all just pans out, it rarely goes that way in the NFL. I understand why the Rams are as favored as much, but that's done is given a lot of value to the middle, which is where this stuff usually comes from.
Yeah.
And look at the Chargers plus 1,600, Chiefs plus 1,700. Say what you want. It's Mahomes and Andy Reid. 49ers plus 17, Eagles plus 19, Texans plus 19, Bengals plus 2,200. Love that middle group if you're looking for somewhere to go. So I would say that would be my one parting shot if you're into like Super Bowl futures.
I mean, the Rams are so hot when it comes to betting that on one prominent sports book, when you click on the NFL tab and you'll see games, week 1 lines, futures, awards, there's a separate category for Rams specials. This is true. There's a separate category for like all the bets you can make on the LA Rams this year. So that's how trendy they are. I would say if you're just, hey, I want to buy the Bengals now, or I want to buy the Bengals to win the Super Bowl, plus 2,200 was where I saw it.
Yep.
That's not going to get any higher. Right?
No, I don't think so.
So buy it now. I mean, if you're
now,
like, screw it, this is the year, it's all going to come together, or I just want to make a heart over head wager, which I do every year, do it now, because I think there's a world where we get closer to the season and plus 2,200 is then plus 1,800 and they get off to a good start. And I know they play the Texans early and they have to go to Pittsburgh early for what that's worth, but I cannot imagine at any point during the season it's going to be anywhere close to plus 2,200.
Well, this has been good information for those of you that are looking to hop on and get some futures in. You can do it now. Maybe you listen to other betting podcasts, but I don't think you're going to get any better information than this until Brendan Sorsby starts his betting podcast. That's got to be his next step, right?
Man, you made the first Brendan Sorsby reference before me, and I'm so mad.
I mean, he has to start a betting podcast for this year, right? Like,
I was just going to say hi to him.
Logical move.
Yeah, I mean, that would be best bets with Brendan.
Best bet for Brendan. Why not? Who wouldn't want it? Just feels right. All right. On that note, I'll wrap it up. Mo, appreciate it. Have a great one. We'll catch you back on we're back together like right before the season starts. ESPN.
No, right.
You're there in
load
management season, but we're both in and out of vacations for the next few weeks. So
yes,
but we're back together, Brad. I think the week before on ESPN 1530, 3 to 4 every Tuesday. Still loving doing that, and of course, always catch Mo over there. Every day or just at your local watering hole doing some sort of a happy hour. He'll probably, if you stay at a Cincinnati bar long enough, Mo and the people from iHeart will show up at some point doing a happy hour.
As long as you incorporate the people from iHeart, so it doesn't sound like I'm just this.
It's not always
local.
You. No, it's not always you.
Not always just me.
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Thanks.